Next on Belmont Park Live, my boy Tate's 5-race win streak was snapped at Saratoga. Can he start a new streak in his Belmont debut? True Timber will try to keep that from happening. He exploded for a career best effort in his last start. Can he back that one up with another victory? And we'll head to Toronto, north of the border, for 2 win-and-you're-in races for the Breeders' Cup, including the Grade 1 Summer, where Fog of War looks to follow up his debut win at Saratoga and punch his ticket to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. All that and much more coming up on this Sunday edition of Belmont Park Live. It's presented by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We have beautiful weather here on this Sunday afternoon here in Elmont, New York, and it is good to be back in the Big Apple. I was away for a couple of weeks, went back to LA, and I have returned to New York. Fans enjoying a beautiful Sunday afternoon here. We have our Big Four coming up. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Nobody happier to have you back than I am. I had a host a few times, so I'm particularly happy to see you.
Well, not only these good races we have coming up here at Belmont, but as mentioned, 2 win-and-you're-in races up in Toronto at Woodbine. In Fog of War, we got to see this horse make his debut at Saratoga. There were 2 next-out winners behind him in that race.
No, particularly the third horse came back here and was very impressive, Breakin's Maiden, at the first weekend here at Belmont Park. And it's always the question of stretching out. Obviously, he was effective doing it, and he was effective doing it with some give in the ground up in Saratoga, and he got it done over a nice George Weaver horse. Interestingly enough, Chad Brown, who's very good stretching out off of maiden wins on the turf, 7 for 21 over the last 5 years, just 1 for 9 in their second starts. Having said that, they weren't particularly short prices. Fog of War may have his work cut out. It's not an easy field, but he is the horse to beat.
Talk plenty more about it coming up. Of course, Untamed Domain won this race last year. He would wind up second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Pluck won it back in 2010, would go on to win that race on Breeders' Cup Day, so it has had some very good success with winners out of this race on Breeders' Cup Day. Get signed up, get started, play along. $200 new member bonus when you use the promo code Belmont Live. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime, and take advantage of that $200 bonus in your account. Here's the races that we have for you this afternoon. Race 6 kicks off the late pick 4 here at Belmont. It's a $40,000 maiden claiming event on the turf. 7th race on the inner turf, 32 claiming events. Race 8, very good sprint where my boy Tate and True Timber go head-to-head. We'll close things out at Belmont with a maiden claiming event on the turf, and of course those win-and-you're-in races for the Breeders' Cup for 2-year-olds north of the border. Weather and track conditions are brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, Pest gone. Main track is fast turf condition listed as, well, we have yielding coming up in this next one here.
Inner turf is listed as yielding, and the Widener is listed as good. They are drying out finally, but we've just had nonstop rain, and until yesterday, we never saw the sun. But Greg, you're back in town, and the sun is out.
Look at that. I brought the sunshine from LA with me. So, mile and a 16th on the turf here. This on the Widener Turf Course 40 maiden claiming group. 9 to 5 on Wicked Trick for Ray Handel. Speedster. Could have some company in here with Victor Lounge as well. We're going to check in right now with the 3rd member of our team. That is Maggie Wolfendale. She has a paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000. Hi, Maggie.
Hey, Greg, and likewise, nice to have you back as well here on those 3rd floor clubhouse studios. As the horses down here in the paddock for this 6th race, well, they're set and ready, and we'll begin with a horse who is kind of second off of a layoff, and that is at number 11 in here, Novus for Christophe Clement, a horse that I liked a lot first, coming back first off the bench, but was beaten by 4 Knights that day. And he also, in the paddock, and it may have been a product of it being up at Saratoga, he was a little bit more wound up than what he is here today. He still possesses good energy, but it's a little more concentrated, he's a little more focused, and he looks really fit in here. I like this horse once again. I think he can make some noise in here despite having that outside position and it being a course with some give in it. Now, Cream McLaughlin will send out 2 horses here, both of which kind of have some question marks with them. And number 8 is Union Wise, who did debut at Saratoga, going the 6.5 furlongs on the main track. And I think these Union Rags is, as Andy's kind of mentioned before, maybe they're just not as good as everybody had hoped. And honestly, I was one of those people. And sometimes you just switch to the turf just because it's a little bit of an easier surface to handle, not that they're necessarily made for it. And I do think that looking at Union Wise here, doesn't really look like a turf horse. He might be able to handle it. He is a big, good-looking type where I think the distance of a mile and a 16th should suit him a little bit better than the sprint distances. And he looks great here. I'm just not sold on the surface, whereas Kieran's other horse in here is a drop down, and that is Ajwaba. Gotta say that a couple times to get it right. He looks fantastic. He has a turf hoof as he switches back to it after he debuted on it down at Gulfstream. Now, his problem has been getting out of the gate. He's been very slow to leave there, and a lot of times that's a kind of indicative of a problem with the horse maybe pushing off from behind. I can't necessarily fault him here, and I think the turf should help him. It's just the condition. You know, a lot of times if a horse needs something firm to push off of, he's not going to get it here over this turf course. He looks great, and I like this spot a bit more for him than I do a stablemate. But again, both of these horses are going to be decent prices as I send it back to you guys.
Yeah, they certainly are 20-1 on the horse you were just looking at, the other Kieran McLaughlin runner. Here is Wicked Trick, though, Annie, and this is our favorite. 9-5 right now for Ray Handel and dropping out of a 75 maiden claiming event.
That's a big drop. I mean, he's been facing horses that are better than these horses. I think he's run fine in the races we want to look at. I mean, this is a race, I think we're looking at 2 back when he finished second at Belmont Park. And he was racing on the Widener that day as well. And I think his speed will be dangerous in here. Probably better in the wider than the inner, where the inside paths may not be the best place to be. The problem with Wicked Trick is, Greg, he's an 0 for 10, and he's a favorite. And those are the kind of horses, even dropping, that you just tend to want to try to beat.
And he's going to get some pressure, you would think, as well. We want to welcome those just joining us on Prime Ticket. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale with you here on Belmont Park Live as we get set for the start of this Pick 4. We were talking about the 3 Wicked Trick, our favorite, and there he is. But, yeah, he could get pressure as well.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, it's one of these things where if you just took, like, the raw who the fastest horse was, he probably is faster early than Victor Lounge, but they don't ride Victor Lounge to sit second. So it's hard to imagine they're not going to engage at some point, and neither one of these horses necessarily wants to rate. I don't love Wicked Trick in here. I acknowledge he's the horse to beat. I won't be surprised when he wins because he's just better than these, but I won't be surprised when he loses as well. The question is who's going to beat him.
You could call the cat right there a long shot that I know you liked a little bit. He intrigued me as well for Gary Siaka.
Well, to me, he's a very interesting horse because his turf debut last October towards the end of the Belmont meeting, he ran just fine. He ran a buyer figure in the high 60s as a 2-year-old, something he could easily improve on as a 3-year-old, and he did it showing speed. He comes back at Saratoga, albeit against a tougher field. But Kendrick Carmouche, a rider who is a terrific rider, but also known for his aggressiveness, he took a strong hold in the start. Now, maybe it was trainer's instructions or not. I don't really know. But the reality was he gave him no chance. He was wide around the racetrack. They were better horses. Now, he can't go to the front here with a 3 and 5, but he's probably going to run better.
Post-parade coming up. You see 160,000 plus in the Pick 4 pool and growing. We'll kick things off with the 1 in here. That is Tom's Music. It's going to break towards the outside. And here's Sam Jimenez aboard for Alejandro Memo.
The question is he better going shorter or longer on the turf, or is he even good enough to compete with these?
28-1 on the remaining half of the entry. We'll see the 2 next who will have the inside post in this race. That is Electro, and he could bring some pace to the party as well with Jose Ortiz.
Yeah, but I got to tell you something. This horse is dirtied up. If you start taking his races apart, he's a lot better than his 18-1 suggests.
Favorite at 2-1 right now. Here's Wicked Trick, who we were talking about. Ray Handel, Irad Ortiz Jr.
Can he wire the field? Can he get in front of the others? Is the drop down going to help? We'll find out in his 11th start.
Congrats to Irad as well. 2,000 came for him just the other day. Here's the 4 Shiloh Lane for Gary Siaka.
Appears to be a bit overmatched here, but not impossible for a piece at a price.
Rajiv Mirage will be aboard there. The 5 Victor Lounge. Danny Gargan trains this one with Jose Lezcano.
He's a big price. You like him, but what do you do with a horse that's at best the second best of the 2 speeds?
Call the cat, the 6 here for Gary Siaka. We were just talking about before the post-parade started. Dylan Davis rides.
Dylan's looking for his 3rd win today, and I've made my case for this horse at a price.
Kieran McLaughlin, Maggie told us he has 2 in this race coming up, including Ajwiba, who's on the board at 21-1.
This is actually the one that I would be more interested in here. There is some good turf pedigree, the second generation of the Dam, as this one drops from maiden special to maiden claimer.
The other Kieran runner, Joe Bravo, rides Union Wise, who debuted sprinting on the dirt at Saratoga.
The question is, where is the pedigree for this horse to move forward on the turf? And also, he's a speed type in a race with plenty of speed.
Everado, 47-1, trained by Nick Zito. Saw him at Saratoga on the turf.
He would have to improve off of his turf debut at Saratoga.
Novus taking support, 7-2 right now for Christophe Clement with Manny Franco.
Overall, this is a tougher field he met last time, but he did face a sort of a slow pace last time, but he handled yielding turf, which could help him today.
Here's a look at Novus. AI Initiative on the outside. Jorge Abreu and blinkers go on today.
Hot Jorge Abreu is the trainer. This horse ran well for him first time. He meets tougher today, but must overcome an outside post.
Ooh, kicking out those hind legs right there. He is 6-1 on the board. As we approach the 4-minute mark to post in our Big Four, show brought to you each and every day in part by champion sprinter Run Happy. There he is at the farm at Claiborne, the legendary stall #1. Set a track record in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Keeneland. His sensational 2015 campaign. Did it all while running without the addition of Lasix medication. Never lost while sprinting during the course of his career. He was a good one. We appreciate Run Happy's support. Our pick 4 is coming up. Maggie Wolfendale standing by with Kieran McLaughlin.
Thank you, Greg. And Kieran sending out 2 horses in here. And Kieran, they're both kind of horses that have question marks. And the one actually taking the most money is the gray one in here. That is Union Wise, the son of Union Rags, trying the turf for the first time in his second start. What was kind of the reasoning behind switching surfaces?
The dirt race didn't go, and I wanted to run him a little bit further, so we're just trying it.
Yeah, looking at him, he looks like distance might be his friend as well. And Ajwaba is one that comes off a little bit of a layoff, switches back to the turf, though. He's been unable to get out of the gate that cleanly in both of his starts. Do you foresee that not being an issue today?
Well, I hope not. We've schooled him a lot, and that's cost him probably both of his first 2 races. So we've schooled him a lot, and he breaks well in the morning. So if he breaks, he probably could run well, because the first time on the turf is a total throwout.
I agree. And just coming up later, you'll send out one for Calumet Farm in True Timber, a horse always been a fan of. He comes off the back of a big win at 7 furlongs. And Andy Sterling brought up this stat that's pretty remarkable. You're about 70% between 2 and 3 months coming off the back of a win in between races. What can we say about True Timber? Does the 6 furlongs concern you at all?
No, he's doing very well. He's got a good post. We're just going to start giving every horse 75 days off after they win. I hope the owners are okay with that. But that was a great stat. But he's doing very well. He had a minor little setback here before we went to Saratoga. He backed in and cut his leg on a fan or something. But he's okay and really didn't miss much time.
All right, well, wishing the best of luck with all 3 runners here today.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, Kieran McLaughlin lining up some nice ones here on this card.
Maggie, thank you. I can't wait to see True Timber. That's going to happen in race 8 when he goes against my boy Tate. And that performance last time out was big time from him.
And the stats say those horses not only run back to those numbers, they sometimes improve. And I think you and I will agree on that. If he improves in his last race, True Timber, he's going to beat the favorite.
Yeah, that was at 7 furlongs. He's won a couple of times, though, at 6 furlongs. So maybe it shouldn't be that much of a concern as we take a look at the 11 horse here. This is Novus for Christophe Clement, 3-1. Current second choice on the board.
Yeah, I think he's overbet at 3-1. I liked him last time, and while he was compromised by the lack of pace, he also saved ground every inch of the way and got a good trip, and now he draws towards the outside. I think a feather in his cap was that he handled a yielding course last time, and that could be a real situation looking at today's turf course.
Yeah, sir, you got to take that into account for sure when you're looking at these races here this afternoon, and he did handle that at Saratoga last time out. The 12 AI Initiative. He's only been on 2 firm turf courses in his 2-race career. He'll make that equipment change again, blinkers on today.
And that is a good question. You know, we just don't know who's going to handle the going, and we've seen especially and it's firming up a little bit, but there's still a lot of give.
Go ahead, sorry.
Well, go ahead.
No, he's been doing this throughout. He's been kicking out those hind legs.
Only when we talk about him. I think he's very conscious of being spoken about. I don't know what it means. I don't know what he did last time. I don't know if Maggie picked up on that at all, but It's a horse that ran fine last time out. I think it's a tougher field. He must overcome the outside post, though.
Well, with more on AI Initiative, let's go to Maggie.
And guys, he wasn't doing that at all in the paddock. He was quite relaxed, quite well within himself. I don't like that behavior that much. Yes, it could be just an impatience thing, but a horse kind of kicking out and swishing his tail just means that they're agitated, that something might be bothering him, whether it's environmental or it's within themselves. You know, you got to kind of scratch your head a little bit, but as you guys mentioned, kind of alluded to, I don't really love to see that with a horse pre-race, especially about to go in the gate.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on him here. This is career start number 3, but yeah, ever since he has come out for the post parade, he's been bucking those hind legs. Now he rears up, and he is seems to be unsettled at this point.
He's not happy, and David Cohen's not happy.
Maybe he just doesn't want to be with that pony.
It's so hard. I mean, I respect so much what Maggie has to say in these situations and stuff, so I defer to her.
All right, 7-1 right now. David Cohen with his hands full with that son of Artie Schiller.
Like the name. Artie Schiller and then Indy Anastasia, so he got AI for that, you know, Artificial Intelligence Initiative.
And how difficult is the way this is configured here on the Widener?
It's not nearly as bad as the inner at a mile 16th where you run that weird dog leg. But, you know, it's a little bit. It's not great. I mean, and I think on the Widener, the course has been more fair. I would prefer to be closer to the inside, but I don't think it's a huge disadvantage.
Loading up here. Start of the late pick 4 on this Sunday afternoon here on Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 9-5 favorite. We were just told acting up in the gate as well. That's Wicked Trick.
Feels like we're back in Saratoga. It's you. There have been no problems at the gate whatsoever the previous 5 days. You're back in town, and it's just like Saratoga again.
I take full responsibility. Let's see if we have a clean break here. There's the 12 will be the last in line. And there's the 3 still acting up, right or off there, Irad Ortiz Jr. See if they can get this one settled down. It looks like they're going to back him out and try and calm Wicked Trick down a little bit. So Irad hops off the gate. Looks like he'll try and get a leg back up.
It's so hard to know what this means. We've seen so many horses that had some backing up before the gate seem to win sometimes that I tend to ignore it. And once again, unless Maggie has some big issue, I just, sometimes it's just horses, right?
It's like they've got him in line, and we're good.
And it is Victor Lounge who comes out the best and goes out to the early lead with Wicked Trick away well. AI Initiative is going up on the far outside. Tom's Music came out running in 4th by another 2.5. And then it's Called a Cat, followed by Union Wise, 3 lengths to Novus. And they're followed by Electro to the inside of Ajwaban. 3 lengths more back to Everado. Shiloh Lane is the trailer and well behind, about 16 lengths off the lead. That first quarter was 23.59 seconds up the backstretch with Wicked Trick the leader. AI Initiative is a length behind, second by 2. And then it's Victor Lounge in 3rd, followed by Call the Cat 4th on the inside of Tom's Music. Outside of horses, Union Wise is 8 lengths off the lead. Electro is next on the inside. And then it's Novus, Ajwaban, Everado, and 6 lengths more back to Shiloh Lane, who's been outrun so far through a 48.04 half mile. So Wicked Trick and Irad Ortiz Jr. carry their speed into the far turn. The favorite on top by almost 2 lengths over AI Initiative. Victor Lounge tracks them 3rd on the outside by another 2. Then Call the Cat, Electro, Tom's Music, and a 4 wide Union Wise around the far turn. And then Novus, who's coming under pressure on the inside by 3. Everado is next. Shiloh Lane is out of last, still about 12 lengths behind as they come toward the top of the stretch. Then Ajwaba, as they turn for home here, Wicked Trick has been joined by Victor Lounge. And the 2 of them are side by side, and Victor Lounge has taken the lead. Victor Lounge to the front, pulling away from Wicked Trick now. Then it's AI Initiative. Electro is 4th, and they're coming down to the final 16th. And Jose Lescano and Victor Lounge are running away, and AI Initiative's got to be 2nd. Victor Lounge clear under the wire. AI Initiative runs down Wicked Trick for the place, and Electro was 4th.
Victor Lounge, when he came to tackle Wicked Trick, he just put that one away, and he wins easily here to start off this late pick 4 9-2.
You have to imagine this horse really liked the going out there because he clearly improved off his other races. Now, it does seem like the favorite Wicked Trick did not run particularly well, but Victor Lounge, he stalked, he pounced, he galloped.
Under Jose Lezcano, and right here they are neck and neck. But from here, Jose Lezcano asks for more and he gets it.
I'll tell you something. We saw a $100 plus horse win the first leg of a pick six carryover, about 90,000. This horse winning, I think there's a very good chance we see a triple carryover of over $300,000 into Wednesday's card.
5-12-3-2, 9-2 on Victor Lounge. 10th time the charm for the son of Declaration of War. Gets that maiden breaker for Danny Gargan with Jose Lezcano. We are going to take a break in the action. When we come back, we will head to Woodbine. The Grade 1 Natalma Stakes coming up. 2-year-old fillies. Win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup is next.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN Rising Star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're on.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Belmont Park Live, our late pick 4. It is underway. Victor Lounge, Jose Lezcano, Danny Gargan, Corms Racing Stable. Team up for the win.
$11.80, just under $12 on this winner. Gets the job done for Danny Gargan. I think it could be a sign maybe Danny Gargan's barn will heat up. He had an uncharacteristically slow Saratoga, but you can't keep a trainer like him down for long.
Start number 10, Victor Lounge. Son of Declaration of War gets the job done here. As we take a look at the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along, favorite H-Man started things off back in the opening leg of the sequence.
Yeah, but still, you got a horse like Victor Lounge in there and you're on your way. You're smarter also than Greg and I.
Yeah, we really thought Wicked Trick, if there's going to a horse that was forwardly placed that was going to do it, we thought it was the favorite.
I would agree with that. I used the second, third, and fourth horses.
We got a late pick 3, though.
We do.
Race 7,
Got
mile and
plenty
a
action
16th.
left.
Inner Turf, $32,000 claiming event. 7-2 on Driven by Thunder. Rudy Rodriguez, Speedster. We'll talk more about that race coming up. We go to Woodbine right now for the first of 2 win and you're in races for 2-year-olds. This for 2-year-old fillies, the Grade 1 or Group 1 Natalma mile on the turf coming up. And Mark Cassie's won this race 7 times in the past. He's going to send out the long shot Eye in the Sky in this race, 39-1 right now.
Yeah, the Godolphin horse, the favorite, La Pelosa. Horse has been running against a very nice Euro named Main Edition.
Here's our post parade, and we start with Not Orbinary, obviously a daughter of Orb. For Gail Cox, Gary Boulanger will ride 34-1, coming off a victory on the synthetic to Heakin off turf last start. Comic Kitten, second-time starter, won on synthetic, going a mile and 70 yards for Mike Maker is the favorite. And here's Chicas Amigas, won over at the Cura last time out for Jessica Harrington, trainer of Alpha Centauri, who just was announced has been retired, by the way. Here's Eye in the Sky for Mark Cassidy. Again, 7-time winner of this race. Jerome Lormite, French jockey, will ride. 45-1 on Chasing the Kitty here for Kevin Rice. Nathan Vickers will be aboard. 10.5 length winner. We saw this horse at the P.G. Johnston in Saratoga. Up to the 7 here. Artelena for Catherine Day Phillips. Eureka Rosa de Silva at 5-1, coming off an 11-length score on a race taken off the turf on synthetic at Woodbine. My Gal Betty moved this one to the turf, and she looked sensational, winning for Roger Atfield. She is crossed the wire first every single time out. She did get DQ'd 2 starts back. Bold Script is the 9. Patrick Husbands, 2-time winner of this race, aboard for Stuart Simon, who was 3rd in the Catch a Glimpse. And here's Pivotina. Joel Rosario won this race last year on Capla Temptress, her North American debut. Coming up at 7-1. Here's Stillwater Cove, who we saw win the Bolton Landing. She beat her stablemate for Wesley Ward at Saratoga back on August the 15th. La Peloso, Andy was talking about for Charles Appleby, has Jamie Spencer aboard, coming off a 2nd in a Group 3 at Newmarket last start. And above all names, for Bonnie Eshelman, still a maiden. And right now, 99-1. The also eligible gets in as well. Sociologist for Kevin Attard, a maiden as well. 2nd, beat less than 2 lengths against the next out winner. First time out. Let's take a look at My Gal Betty. And this was the move to turf, and she would air in a stakes race to Catch a Glimpse by more than 4 lengths.
I mean, unless you think she freaked on a yielding turf course, then she's very tough. And she adds Lasix, too, since the win, Greg. I thought it was a very good effort. And no reason to believe she's not supposed to stretch out, being a daughter of Point of Entry. Now, the dam is a mining, who's more of a sprinter, but I don't know. Does she look to you like distance is supposed to be a problem?
This was a big-time effort. First 2 starts came on synthetic, and then just a whole different dimension when she got on the grass.
Roger Atfield, her trainer, I mean, he's not only one of the great trainers in Canadian history, he's one of the really great trainers in North American history. I believe he's won the Queen's Plate like 7 or 8 times or something.
He is one of the best to ever do it, certainly in Canada. And My Gal Betty looks like she is the one to beat here in this year's edition of the Talma, daughter of Point of Entry, as mentioned. Rafael Hernandez will be aboard. And she is tactical as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you have her stretching out from 6 furlongs. Obviously, La Peloso's taking a lot of money. I mean, you don't know with these Euros. You know, the money can be meaningful, but sometimes they just don't show up. She did ship over with Hawkbill.
And you know, when we saw Stillwater Cove, the 12 for Wesley Ward, win that Bolton Landing, Wesley seemed to think that stretching out, she would be even better.
Well, you would think a quality road shouldn't have any problem getting more of a distance to ground. And listen, from a straight Beyer speed figure standpoint, she ran a big figure of 80, which is the biggest number I believe anybody in this race has run. I didn't love the field she came out of myself, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you like the horses you haven't seen more than you should.
She is the 12 filly, and then, of course, as you mentioned, La Pelosa, the 13 for Charles Appleby with Jamie Spencer, a big player here.
Yeah, I mean, a main edition, I was talking to David Aragono, who's more familiar with the Euros than I am, and David said that main edition's beaten this horse twice, is a pretty talented Euro, and this horse finished 2nd 2 times behind that one in the Albany at Ascot. That's a good sign.
Catch a Glimpse won this race back in 2015, would go on to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Talented field, My Gal Betty, the 8. For Roger Atfield, trying to bring that Hall of Fame trainer another victory here. It's a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Here's the Natalma from Woodbine. Robert Geller with the call.
Sociologist to the outside gate. And they're set to run for the Natalma Stakes. Locked up. And they're off. And a good start out wide. Sociologist, Stillwater Cove began in front with Sociologist and goes clear. Up the inside, Eye in the Sky to take over. Eye in the Sky at a faster pace now, 1.5 lengths. In 2nd, Stillwater Cove with Artelena coming up on the inside. A length in behind them into 4th, Comic Kitten, followed by Above All Names. A length away is My Gal Betty, and on the inside, Chicas Amigas. In the centre, Chasing the Kitty. A length to Bold Script from La Pelosa, Not Ordinary. 2nd last is Pivotina, and dropping to the tail end of the field is Sociologist. It's Eye in the Sky. Getting out by a length and a half, Artelina. A length and a half again, Stillwater Cove on the rails, Comic Kitten. Racing wide above, all names on the outside from My Gal Betty, Chicas Amigas. Bold Scripts in behind them. And over on the inside, La Pelosa splitting them is Chasing the Kitty, who got back about 5 or 6 to Not Ordinary Pivotina. And 5 away last is Sociologist. It's Eye in the Sky breaking this field up. Eye in the Sky, 3/8 to run, 3.5 clear. Artelina and Stillwater Cove chasing in second and third. 2 to My Gal Betty running on. Bold Script around the outside of a weakening above all names. And La Pelosa now showing interest in the center. Out in front, Eye in the Sky. Stillwater Cove running about 2 behind, but is coming. And Stillwater Cove getting to Eye in the Sky. La Pelosa coming after them very strongly now. And La Pelosa emerging in the center. La Pelosa goes up. My Gal Betty down the outside. They race to Stillwater Cove. And My Gal Betty after La Pelosa. Then Bold Script. It's La Pelosa and My Gal Betty. La Pelosa in front. And the Natalma to La Pelosa by a length 2 in second. My Gal Betty. Bold Script third. Then Pivotina, who ran on with Stillwater Cove back on the inside. 1:33.70.
La Pelosa, winner of the Group 1 at Natalma. We saw My Gal Betty making a big charge as well, but she was very erratic in the stretch.
Seemed like she wanted to get a hot dog in the stand. I mean, she was out, and the announcer, Robert Geller, does a great job. I mean, she's out in the green. She's the one who'll duck out severely. La Pelosa, an excellent ride by Jamie Spencer. From post, I guess, 12 or with the scratches, or 11 even, he got this horse right down the rail, saved ground. They were flying up front. That was a wicked fast pace. Frankly, Stillwater Cove ran very well to finish 3rd or 4th in here, considering the pace that she was chasing. But the Euro, La Pelosa gets the money over the drifting My Gal Betty.
So La Pelosa, the way Mark Cassidy tried to steal this one with Jerome Lermite. Eye in the Sky, setting that quick early pace on the front end on the stretch out. In the end, weakens late. La Pelosa the win under Jamie Spencer. So the Group 1 Natalma, La Pelosa punches a ticket to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Grade 1 summer for the boys, still to come.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back to in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires. 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Belmont Park Live at Woodbine. Group 1 win in the Natalma. Win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. It goes to La Pelosa, trainer Charles Appleby, and Jamie Spencer, and Godolphin, your winning connections.
I got to think this is a horse that could be a player going to the Breeders' Cup at Churchill Downs this year. It's a nice performance here, and really was an excellent ride by Jamie Spencer. I think sometimes the Euros don't get the credit they deserve, and this was a very well thought out and well-conceived ride.
Charles Appleby, of course, champion trainer of the 2018 Dubai World Cup Carnival. He got his first Grade 1 win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf when Outstrip won it.
Yeah, he's won it twice, actually. And he'll be looking to have another winner here, and there's no reason to think this horse couldn't be a major player.
We move along back here at Belmont, second leg of the late pick 4. Starts off at pick 3 as well. It's a mile and a 16th on the inner turf here. $32,000 claiming race driven by Thunder for Rudy Rodriguez. The one to beat. It's time for a paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farm. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. Hillendale Farm now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Thanks, Greg. And half of this 8-horse field coming in first off claims. We'll take a look at 3 of those runners, beginning with your current favorite in number 3, driven by Thunder. Now, this is a horse who had success down at Gulfstream Park, setting those paces around 2 turns. 2 turns at Gulfstream Park is a lot different than, well, the kind of 1.5 that you get here at Belmont, just because of those big sweeping turns. And I think it's a little bit easier for horses to control with those tight turns at Gulfstream than opposed to here. Now, he will probably be the speed, and he's coming in off the back of a very good effort and picked up by Rudy Rodriguez. A lot of things going for him, and furthermore, overall, this horse looks fantastic here. I just don't know if he's as good, if you will, here at Belmont on the turf around 2 turns. We'll see. I've always thought he might want a little less ground. As number 5 is Warbond. He'll go first off the claim for Dave Canizzo. And what I've noticed about this horse from last time to this time around here in the paddock is that up at Saratoga, he ran his race before he ever went in the gate. He was really bad to saddle. He was acting up in the paddock, and it flowed over to the racetrack, where accompanied by the pony, he was acting up poorly as well. He just wasted way too much energy prior to even going in the starting stalls. Today, physically, he looks tremendous. He's a lot more settled here. I obviously will keep my eye out on him. But the problem is the aforementioned number 3 in here, driven by Thunder, and that Warbond does his best running when he can control things. And that's just not going to happen today, but I think it's a feather in his cap that he's not as wound up. Moving on to number 8, Sycamore Lane, and maybe things just fall right into Sycamore Lane's lap. And it's always intriguing when former connections claim back a horse. And this was a horse that Bill Mott had for different ownership, and he and Lee Einseidler decided to go back in for him when he won up at Saratoga for 25. Why not? I always think it's encouraging when connections do this as well, and that they know whatever issues the horse may have, they can maintain them. And this horse looks fantastic, and I think Sycamore Lane could be very dangerous in this spot, guys.
Maggie, thank you. Yeah, he's 5-1 right now, and a horse that is shown an affinity here at Belmont with a couple of wins on the turf course.
Yeah, he's a player in here. I mean, the one thing, for me, I just think you're supposed to pitch the 3 driven by Thunder. I don't like him at all. The thing about Sycamore Lane is, while he ran a figure that was closer to some numbers he ran when Bill Mott had him in the past, I just think he's meeting significantly tougher than he's meeting in this race. I don't like the horses that finish behind him, but you know what? He got a good trip last time. He can win this race, and I sort of agree with Maggie. I don't want any part of driven by Thunder in here, which makes him one of the major players.
Well, I throw out that last start, though, and you could say before that he was facing tougher, right?
Oh, no, I agree. Yeah, listen, I think the Sycamore Lane's a little dressed up of his last race, but I don't think that I think he's a major player in here. You're not getting 5-1 either. I don't believe that'll happen.
Well, McKagan next door used to be with Bill Mott, was claimed by Michelle Nevin. Couple starts back, and this horse just beat a half length last time out at Saratoga, going a mile.
And while he had a very good trip being on the rail the whole way and saving ground, he's a horse that's almost most comfortable in the front end. Well, that's not going to happen here either. I'll tell you what he has going for him, Greg. The turf. It's listed as good. It's good to yielding. He loves giving the ground.
He showed that in his most recent performance. Yeah, at Saratoga on that good turf when he just missed.
He's run some huge races at Aqueduct on a course that he loves, but particularly when there's been given the ground.
One stakes race at Aqueduct, in the Kingston at Belmont, he ran good against tons better than he's facing in this group.
Yeah, listen, these horses are players. I've had a tough time getting a grasp on this race. My one opinion, which may prove to be wrong, I don't like driven by Thunder. I do think the 10, Monster B, who's over bet right now at 3-1, I think he's very dangerous in here. He is taking a significant drop in class, and what chance did he have last time out against much, much tougher horses?
California racing is shifted to Los Alamitos, and you can play the early pick 4 on Naira Bets for a 20% winner's bonus every day throughout the meet. Los Al races Friday through Sunday through September 23rd. Go to NairaBets.com for all the details. Prices for you from the Group 1 Natalma and La Palosa's victory, and it's on, you would expect, to the Breeders' Cup with this performance here. $8.50 for the win, the second of her career.
Yeah, she was good. She got the right trip, and it certainly helped that Miguel Betty drifted out. But I'd say, Greg, that both of these horses, the first two finishers, especially if Miguel Betty can stop drifting, they're players going towards the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, there's a few things to sort out there, right? That was her first time going beyond 6 furlongs for Miguel Betty.
Didn't sound like she was tiring as much as just maybe just a little bit immature.
Little green.
You know?
That's what happens with these 2-year-olds. We saw, what was it, the end of last summer? We saw Dwayne Lucas win the Hopeful with a horse drifting out in the stretch.
Sporting
Still
Chance.
was able to hang on.
He never stopped doing that, Sporting Chance. He's still doing that wherever he is right now.
Post-parade here coming up momentarily. Driven by Thunder, that price getting even lower here. 5-2. You're not a fan.
Oh, first of all, I don't want a horse that's going to be on the inside on this course. I think you're better off a few pass off the 2 or 3 pass off the rail on the inner turf course, the way it's played the last couple of days. But also, Rudy Rodriguez, who is one of the great claiming trainers in the game, he's around 4 for 60 off the claim with turf horses with a very low ROI. Do you really want to take him at 5-2? And I'll tell you something else. He's beating better horses than he was running against. And I agree with everything Maggie said. There's a huge difference between running those Gulfstream turf courses and running on this one, especially softened by rain.
No, that's a great point. 4 for 7, though, on the turf. And we'll see if he can control things or if it's going to get pressure put on him here in this spot. If he does, it's going to make his job even harder, obviously. So we take a look here at the 5 Woodbine, who has some ability to be close. He doesn't seem to be as quick as the 3, but he is putting blinkers on.
I don't disagree. And Dave Canizzo is a trainer that likes to have his horses forwardly placed. So it's hard to imagine that Woodbine's going to be letting Driven by Thunder just sort of cruise around the racetrack, whether or not he's good enough. One thing, and I think David does a great job, Canizzo, I don't want to knock him, it's tough to claim turf horses from Mike Maker. Tough to do well with him. Not impossible, but tough.
Yeah, he's extremely good at what he does, so moving them up off that barn, that can be a task. As we take a look again here at Sycamore Lane, reclaimed by Belmont and Lee Einsiedler, LRE Racing.
You know, they didn't know. It's important to note, Gainesway owned this horse. It wasn't owned by those guys. But, you know, Lee likes the action, and I'm sure he and Bill decided to have some fun and reclaim it. Why not?
We haven't talked much about County Court, the 2, who's actually taken some play here for Shug McGahee. 12-1 morning line. He's down to 7-1 right now. We'll see him here in a moment. We start with Shamcat and Jose Lizcano, Gregory DePrima.
Shamcat has some races that are on the fringe of being competitive, but he feels like his current form a little below these.
All right, so here's County Court we're going to see next at 7-1. Can you make the case for him?
Well, keep in mind the favorite astounding was Scratch, the morning line favorite. David Aragona, who I respect a lot, made a case for him, feeling that the given the ground could help his chances. I can't excuse his horrendous effort last time out.
3-1 favorite now, as you mentioned, with the scratch of Astounding. That was a major scratch in here, by the way, for Jason Service. But Rajiv Mirage will be aboard. Rudy Rodriguez off the claim.
If you think that speed's good, maybe he's going to wire the field. I don't like this horse at all.
Lucky Ramsey, Eric Consell, Joe Sharp off the claim.
And Joe Sharp claiming from his former boss, Mike Maker, a horse that at times has run well enough to be competitive. We'll see.
Joe Sharp had a terrific Saratoga. War Bond, blinkers go on. David Canizzo off the claim.
It's just a tough spot for a forwardly placed horse. He's got to deal with Driven by Thunder, theoretically put that one away, and then hold off the closers.
McKagan. We'll see next. There he is. Michelle Nevin and Manny Franco for Michael Dubb and Little Red Feather Racing.
The given the ground is clearly going to help this horse, and he even drops a little off his last race. He's a big player.
7-2 on the 7-year-old son of Artie Schiller. Here's Sycamore Lane. Again, Mott off the claim with David Cohen. He comes off a win at Saratoga.
You got to like horses that are coming off wins, right? Horses that are coming off of good efforts. I mean, they're in good form. And, boy, he's a big price. Is he a little dead on the board right now, or is it too early to say that?
And the favorite right now is Monster B to the outside. Blinkers coming off. Carlos Martin, Joe Bravo.
Well, I like this horse, not at 3-1, and expect him to go up from there. But he's got sharp connections, and I think he's a big-time player taking the blinkers off.
Warming up by his lonesome here as we get set for race 7, 3 minutes away. from the 7th here for Belmont Park. Mile to 16th on the inner turf. We will have it for you live when we return.
Welcome back. You are watching Belmont Park live as we're just a stone's throw away from Manhattan as horses are lining up behind the gate here as we are at post time. Really quickly, number 4, Lucky Ramsey. Funny when former assistants now turned trainers do claim off their former bosses, but Joe Sharp has had success and he did with 4 nights up at Saratoga as he'll take Lucky Ramsey here, who was also reclaimed by Mike Maker. I think that's always a positive sign as I was mentioning before, and this horse looks great. Number 5, Woodbine continues to impress me with the 180 that he has done from his last race up at Saratoga. He warmed up beautifully away from the pony beneath Jose Ortiz. Like I said, dynamics are not in his favor whatsoever here today, but maybe he can give a little better showing of himself this time around, guys.
Maggie, thanks. Maggie needs to be playing for the Jets. She could throw a stone to Manhattan from here?
Apparently she could outthrow LaDuca. Paul's not going to be happy when he comes back and hears that.
3-1 favorite. A horse that you're completely against. So that provides great opportunity here to bet this race and go in a different direction. Now, where are you going to wind up?
I bet on the 10 horse in this race, number 10 Monster B, and used exactas. Used a little 2, a little 4, and mostly a 7 and 8.
Larry Colmus with the call, leg 2 of our late pick 4. It's Rudy Rodriguez off the claim with a 3, Driven by Thunder, the one to beat.
They're off. And on the outside, it's McKagan, who's out fast and showing some early speed and up and after the lead with Driven by Thunder away running in second position. And then it's War Bond in third, racing 4 lengths from the front, then Sycamore Lane and 3 to Monster B. Break of another 2 lengths more to Lucky Ramsey, Shamcat on the inside, County Court at the back of the pack onto the backstretch. 24.91 that opening quarter mile, and it's Manny Franco and Mac Egan in front, on top by 3.5 lengths. And Driven by Thunder tracks in second. Sycamore Lane is third on the inside. Warbond is fourth, some 5 lengths from the front. After that, it's Monster Bee, followed by Shamcat. Lucky Ramsey is next. County Court, last of them all, in 9 lengths off the lead, continuing through a 49.13 half mile. Mac Egan, the leader, heading for the far turn with a 1.5 lead on Driven by Thunder, Sycamore Lane, and a 3-wide Warbond. And Monster Bee travels well behind them in 5th. 2.5 lengths to Lucky Ramsey. They're followed by Shamcat and County Court. Around the far turn, Mac Egan still on top. The lead is a 1.5 lengths. Sycamore Lane saves ground. Coming 4 wide there is Monster Bee. Moving up alongside of Warbond as they turn for home. Driven by Thunder is in behind them, and they're into the stretch. Mac Egan the leader. Here's Monster Bee, who continues to move well on the outside, and also finishing fast is Lucky Ramsey in the center. County Court has made up ground from the back of the pack in the middle of the course. Monster Bee in front. Lucky Ramsey on the outside. It's these two. Monster Bee, Lucky Ramsey. They're going to come to the wire together, and it's going to be tight. Either of these two could have won it. And it's a photo for show as well between County Court and Mac Egan.
Dead tight to the wire, but Monster Bee, the 10, just barely able to hang on.
Well, Greg, I'm glad you're calling me a winner. I am hoping that Monster Bee got it done. And you could see Joe Bravo had a handful. Got position with this horse early and feels like made that big move off the turn. 1 16th might have been stretching, and he's a horse that's always been best around a mile. But Joe Bravo did everything right, not knocking him at all. The 4-horse came a-running off the claim, Lucky Ramsey. Eric Cancel, I can't say enough. I think he's really stepped his game up. He rode well at Saratoga. He's continued to ride well here at Belmont Park. But it does appear as though the bob went to Monster Bee.
Monster Bee inside, Lucky Ramsey the 4 to the outside. I just don't think this horse ever got a nose in front.
I've got too much money involved too. Well, that's a terrible angle. You can't go on that one. That's a terrible angle. So I don't know. They're showing the 10 like he won. So.
I will say this: I know that I'm terrible at these, and I had supreme confidence here. For whatever that's worth. I will never make these calls.
I have a 10 for a box.
Well, now they're showing both horses.
No, that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. I don't think you want to make it a definitive idea until you see the finish. And everybody, if they know I bet the 10, then obviously the assumption is that I lost the bob. Here we go. Let's take a look. Paul's so good at these, but he's not here. Coming to the wire. Ugh.
Wow. Lucky Ramsey gets the nose down in front. As I said, I am terrible at calling these. 4-10, 7-2, 6-1 on Lucky Ramsey. We didn't talk about this one a lot. We didn't talk about the great meet that Joe Sharp had at Saratoga, but wow, the incredible
Well, he got every part of the
here.
bob. I think Joe Sharp has beat me about 17 times going back to the beginning of Saratoga. This might be the 18th.
That is an absolutely brutal beat. If you had Monster Bee, I know, Andy, that you did like him in here. That is rough. That was the only point.
Yes.
That horse was in front, was right.
Took every bit of
nose.
a perfect trip for Lucky Ramsey and a less than stellar trip for Monster Bee, but that's horse racing.
Wow. Eric Cancel, well, you credited him with great job that he has done, stepping up, riding tremendous. Gets finish out of his horse here. 5-year-old son of Looking at Lucky with a win. Picks up the 7th win of his career, 6-1. Another price in our Naira Bets late pick 5. We'll be right back.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Park. His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Get signed up, get started, play along with Naira Bets. Use the promo code Belmont Live. You'll get a $200 new member bonus, and you can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The statues move. Our 7th race. It was an incredible photo that went to the 4 Lucky Ramsey. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale for more.
And here with his pilot, Eric Cancel, with Lucky Ramsey. And Eric, you said to me that you didn't think you won it.
Yeah, like I said, I knew I was in a duel with Joe from the 16 pole to the wire. I mean, I didn't really think that I had him. Yeah. I know that it was really close, but I didn't thought that in the head bob I had him there, you know.
Well, luckily your head was down. And Eric, you will be aboard a horse that we were just doing the math in the next race, Celtic Chaos. You've been aboard him 25 of his 27 career starts. A horse you know like the back of his hand. He is coming off a big win up at Saratoga.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool horse. I mean, I can say he's my favorite horse. He's a very big grinder, you know. He tries every single time I ride him. So today he's facing a tough horse that I think is Michelle Nevin's horse. But I have a lot of confidence on him, you know, and I think we could get the win.
Now, he's one of those come from behind sprinters where he benefits from a fast pace, but you're probably not going to get that today. But sometimes it doesn't matter with him.
To be honest, last time he ran very good. When I asked him to start picking it up, he picked it up very quick. I was on top of the horses already by the 3/8. Usually takes him a little bit more to get there. But if he runs the same way he ran last time and the time before, I don't think I have nothing to be scared of.
All right, I like the confidence. Eric, best of luck. Congrats to you. You're heading into the race in the right kind of way.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we'll see if Eric can go back-to-back here.
Nothing like getting a little momentum like that, winning a dead-tight photo, and that's exactly what happens here with Cancel and Lucky Ramsey. Joe Sharp off the claim.
Yeah, got the right trip and got the right ride from Eric, who really has stepped his game up. You know, when Eric was an apprentice, he won about 17 or 18 races at Saratoga, and he did it by being aggressive. And suddenly he got away from it when we came back to Belmont, and that really hurt his chances. But starting at Saratoga, he's been more aggressive, and in doing so, he's been more effective. Now, this was one he rated, obviously, but in general, he's been more aggressive, and it's really helped him.
So started out with a favorite in the Naira Bets late pick 5, 71,000 plus in that pool. And now this is starting to open up a little bit with back-to-back double-digit numbers.
No, I agree. If you're alive, you're looking at a very healthy payoff in this pick 5. If you can hit it in the pick 6, I don't think there's too many horses there. Their combinations covered. We could be looking at 300 and change, about 3 1/4, I think, coming into Wednesday.
Our Belmont Park main event is coming up next. My boy Tate reeled off 5 consecutive victories before he was defeated by Always Sunshine in the tail of the cat at Saratoga, and he's going head-to-head with True Timber for Kieran McLaughlin, who ran lights out at Belmont at 7 furlongs back on June 10th.
No, that's the question, obviously, and you pointed out he's won a couple races at 6 furlongs, but is he better going a little longer? Is he just a horse that finally found himself? He beat a horse, Pattern Recognition, who came back to win at Saratoga and is a contender in next week's Kelso here at Belmont Park.
So this race, field of 5, it's 20 minutes to post. We'll talk plenty more about it coming up. Of course, we're going to look back right now at what Oscar Performance did just the other day in the Woodbine Mile, just 36 days early. He was vanned off at Arlington International. His connections were left wondering not only if he wasn't going to race again, if his life might be in jeopardy. They did not know what was going on. Instead, 4th grade 1 of his career.
No, it's good to see him get back. He'd run so well in the poker, and his trainer and his connections decided to try the 1 1/4 Arlington Million. He'd been effective at a 1 1/4 at prior races in his career. But at the end of the day, he's just a miler. I mean, he won some races going longer and ran effectively because he's a very talented horse. But the mile distance where he should be running, and I have to imagine the next stop is the Breeders' Cup Mile.
Does his best when he is on the front end. He was able to do that in the Woodbine Mile. Tremendous performance. He is a barn favorite, and this connection's so happy to see him back and winning grade 1s. Well, Northern Dancer happened as well. And Johnny Bear is a horse who upset in this race last year at 9-1. He had not won again since. He's an even bigger price this year at 16-1. And lo and behold, he does it again.
It's amazing. I mean, Hawkbill, who had lost to him and won in Dubai Shima. You would think winning a $5 million, $6 million race in Dubai would be better than these. Well, turns out that he's not. He's very good in Dubai, but he's not so good at Woodbine.
Got a great ground-saving trip, and that was the difference in here. He's the elder statesman of this field. The 7-year-old gets it done. He came in on a 6-race losing skid since winning this race last year, and he does it again at an even bigger price.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, coming through down the inside, holding off the cavalry charge, right? You're yelling wire watching this race. 6 of them hitting the wire together, and Johnny Bear gets it done. Pretty amazing, right?
Luis Contreras aboard for that winning ride, ducked him down to the inside there, ground-saving trip, and it works out for him. And he really wasn't even all that sharp, although I guess that last race in the Halton, he ran very good, even though he didn't win. But before that, year before, he'd been in much sharper form.
No, really, I agree. And he's a former claimer, and it's really kind of cool. We saw a claimer win the Canadian, a horse that had been claimed for $16,000 a year and a half ago that's gone on to win over $500,000, or roughly $500,000. You see Johnny Bear doing this. It's a $500,000 Grade 1. Won it twice.
8th win of his career. He's just shy of $700,000 now in earnings.
Most of it in that race.
Yeah, exactly. Back-to-back wins in the Northern Dance. We're going to take a break in the action. We're going to head back to Woodbine. When we return, we saw the 2-year-old fillies do their thing in the Group 1 Natalma. Group 1 Summer. That's still to come.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back here on Belmont Park Live, our feature race here from Belmont coming up, and we have the Group 1 Summer winning. You're in for the Breeders' Cup at Woodbine ahead. Our show presented by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Greg Wolf alongside Andy Serling. We have Maggie Wolfendale with us as well. Here at Belmont in this 8th race coming up, my boy Tate reeled off 5 consecutive victories, and the way they did it, too, very impressive from this horse. He's done it on the lead. He's done it stalking. Very versatile running style.
And if you look at him, he's undefeated before last time sprinting. His first 3 races, they went long with him. Well, that was wrong. And once they got him sprinting, he just turned his career around. Very impressive. And I thought he ran extremely well. Always Sunshine, who beat him last time, is a very nice horse for trainer Ned Howard.
That's a Grade 3 winner who beat him at Saratoga. Wound up second in that race, my boy Tate. But he's got to deal with another good one in here. In fact, a couple of them, but most notably, True Timber for Kieran McLaughlin, who we have been talking about. But my boy Tate, can he get back in the win column? He also is trying Belmont Park for the first time today.
That's amazing. He's never run. He's run so many of his races at Aqueduct, and that's interesting. But he showed last time he brings his game to any track going up to Saratoga. A lot of people, they say they can only win in New York because somehow being in Borders, when you ship him to Saratoga, it's a completely different place from Aqueduct and Belmont. So he's shown that he can do it, and I thought it was a very nice effort by him. The question really is whether or not True Timber's last race was a race you can bank on him running again, because if he runs that number, he can beat My Boy Tate. Otherwise, My Boy Tate's likely to win.
There is True Timber, and yeah, this last performance, it was a career best from him back on June the 10th at Belmont. It was at 7 furlongs. He's shortening up to 6 today, so there's a little bit of a question. Is he better going a little bit longer?
You know, I can't tell you. I thought he ran so well last time. I'm not overly concerned with it. I think it's a very, very legitimate question. I don't think of it that much like that because he was on the engine the whole way, and Pattern Recognition came back with a very nice effort up in Saratoga. He beat a horse that came back and ran bang up to get nailed at the wire.
100 buyer, yeah.
And, I mean, Pattern Recognition has run big figures his whole career, so it was a legitimate effort by True Timber. And as we said, I don't know if we have that stat, but 75 to 150-day layoffs off a win on the dirt for Kieran McLaughlin. He's 7 for 10. He's 4 for 6 in sprint and 9 for 10 hitting the board with a 435 ROI. And what that says to me is he gives them 2 to 3 months off, and they come back and they run back or even better in their next starts because they're winning, and that's a crazy percentage, small sample or not.
Yeah, it is. You want to play against those numbers. It's 7-2. Difficult to do. It's time for a paddock report right now. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing by iron for $15,000. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
We'll see if Kieran can keep that streak going, Andy. As True Timber, he comes off that little layoff here. And while I am of the notion that he might be better going the 7 furlongs, that might be his kind of niche distance, he does come back here fresh and sharp. So that is a good sign. And again, look, I've been a fan of this horse since he first started running, and physically he looks tremendous. He always does. He looks fit. He looks extremely well conditioned. It's just a matter of the 6 versus the 7, in which he's been a little more successful at, as far as figures are concerned. Moving on to number 2, My Boy Tate. And I have to kind of say that I've never been My Boy Tate's biggest fan. But when he came back last time in what was a fairly tough spot in the Tail of the Cat, I thought he looked better than ever. And he was pretty sharp. He was on his toes. He looked great. He must be a tough horse to keep weight on, though. And probably that's why he got some of that time off. Because when he races, he seems to come over with each consecutive race looking a little bit lighter. Look, it doesn't affect him, obviously, as that 5-race win streak went on during the summer. Like I said, if I'm just judging these horses without looking at the program, I'm going to take True Timber every time over My Boy Tate. Number 4, 8 Town's a little interesting. Second off of a layoff, as well as he takes those 2 bar shoes off in which he ran with last time. He looks fantastic here for trainer Brian Lynch. I'm wondering, Brian had a bit of a tough and trying Saratoga, and you think about Oscar Performance's race at Woodbine yesterday, and maybe things will start to turn around for this barn. And not that 8 Town's necessarily a likely winner to beat, even the top 3 choices in here, but maybe he could sneak in there. Just having that race under his belt, he looks great here. He's a horse that I think is better at 6 furlongs than he is at the 7, in which he came back off of that layoff. Greg?
And his only try at Belmont Park, he was a winner. 8 Town. There's Kieran McLaughlin talking strategy with his jockey Joe Bravo. They'll be on board True Timber coming up. Still ahead as well, the Group 1 Summer Fog of War for Chad Brown. Can he make it 2 for 2? Stretching out here to start his career. We'll be back.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. He has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
Back on Belmont Park Live, and it is back to Woodbine in Toronto. Group 1 Summer for the Colts coming up. Win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup. Juvenile Turf and Fog of War for trainer Chad Brown. 6-5 favorite right now off that debut win at Saratoga when he got up to win by a neck.
Power of Chad Brown. I mean, he was good first time, but he's got to stretch out from 5.5 to a mile, and he's supposed to based on his pedigree, being a war front in the Dam Say, a Galileo. She was pretty good as well, but that's a very short price. And looking at the doubles into this race, he is just an overwhelming favorite over everybody else.
We'll get back to that race in just a little bit as we get set for our main event here again coming up here at Belmont. And again, my boy Tate had that 5-race win streak snapped at Saratoga, and it looks like just from a pace standpoint here in this race, and I was asking you about this off air just a moment ago, he looks like he could be alone in front here.
He's supposed to be the controlling speed. I mean, obviously, True Timber, they're going to try to get him in the game, and he showed speed last time, but not the speed that my man Tate has. And the truth is, we haven't seen any dirt races today, but the rail was very good the last couple of days, my boy Tate, that is, and it's been good today in a lot of races, so that could be an advantage for him.
Even money on my boy Tate in his Belmont Park debut. Here's our post-parade, and we start with Caledonian for trainer John Terranova, Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
He's run some okay races at times, but his horse coming off roughly a 4-month layoff and meeting a very tough field.
My boy Tate, he answered every question, sprinting, reeled off 5 in a row before he got beat in the tail of the cat at Saratoga.
His trainer, Michelle Nevin, does a sensational job. He is very much the one to catch and beat.
One of the horses he beat during that streak, Celtic Chaos here for Brad Cox with Eric Consell.
And Eric will be looking to win 2 straight races, and he was good up in Saratoga, but he's going to have to be even better to win this race.
Just shy of $500,000 in earnings, the 5-year-old. Here's 8 Town for Brian Lynch with Jose Ortiz.
Second off a layoff, and Maggie had some nice things to say about him. He really had no chance last time in a race that was wired, a very, very tough field. I don't think he's impossible, as Maggie said, to get a piece of this at a price.
And the main threat to the favorite here is True Timber for Kieran McLaughlin with Joe Bravo, Calumet Farm.
Can trainer Kieran McLaughlin go 8 for 11 off of this kind of layoff, off a win in a dirt race? We'll see. His last race was very good.
The pattern recognition, as Andy mentioned, who would come back and win at Saratoga, posting a 100 buyer in that victory. So that certainly flattered True Timber's form And that race was for real. Can he follow it up with another good one? We're going to find out next. The 8th from Belmont coming up when we return on Belmont Park Live.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, what'd he catch? Reeling in something tasty right there.
Nice.
We need to reel in some winners here.
Well, they reeled in my winner in the last race. I'm going to try to reel in True Timber in this race. I'm going to hope he can reel in my boy Tate.
Well, even money on my boy Tate. That's a look, though, at Celtic Chaos. Don't forget, get signed up, started, play along, $200 new member bonus. Belmont Live, the promo code you use to take advantage of that. This is a neat old horse. I mean, he's not really that old, 5-year-old here, but he's won almost $500,000. 7-time winner, and 3 of those wins have come here at Belmont.
And one thing I think will help him is that he's a horse that Eric is very comfortable. Eric Cancelo rides him. Sitting on the rail with him, making that inside move, and staying on the rail is going to help horses on this racetrack. So maybe he can do it, but you are talking about a horse that's going to have to get faster. I mean, the races at Saratoga were good, but the favorites really didn't show up last time. I mean, Saratoga Hero, who ran second, or Giro, I don't want to knock him. He's a very nice, hard knocker, but he is not as good as horses like My Boy Tate or True Timber.
Celtic Chaos, he has had chances against My Boy Tate. He's been no match so far with more on this 5-year-old son of Dublin. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
That is very true, Greg. But I think at that point in time in Celtic Chaos's campaign last year, or in the top of this year, he may have just been a tired horse. Because after that, after facing My Boy Tate those 2 times, he did have a considerable considerable break in which then he was transferred to Brad Cox. I mean, that may have had something to do with the time away from the races. But going back, this is actually a horse that my husband trained, first of all, in the beginning of his career as a 2-year-old. And I don't even know why I'm telling this story. It's just funny how horses, once they start racing, they figure things out. I breezed this horse before he ever ran up in Saratoga and absolutely hated him. I thought he was all over the track. He had no clue. But once he had that first race, the light bulb went off and he won his next start. And he's just a horse that really likes what he does now, and that's always something to give a horse credit for. And yeah, I don't love him in this spot here today, but he does tend to show up, and his last 2 races have been pretty good. Greg?
Workmanlike, 17 of 27 in the money for Celtic Chaos as we look at the one that both Maggie and Andy going with in here. True Timber off that lights out performance on this surface back on June the 10th. See if he can follow it up.
Listen, I really think he ran big last time, and Kieran's shown that he can do it.
Let's go to Larry Colmus. My Boy Tate trying to start a new win streak, the 2-horse for Michelle Nevin.
They're off. Caledonian, 8 Town and True Timber out for the lead. It's going to be 8 Town to the front. True Timber second on the outside. Caledonian back running in third. My Boy Tate from off the pace in fourth and racing 3 lengths off the lead. Celtic Chaos, the late runner, is 8 lengths behind. So it is 8 Town who leads the way as they move for the far turn with True Timber a length and a half behind. My Boy Tate's going to have to come 3 wide. They went 22.58 for that opening quarter mile. Caledonian is fourth on the inside, 4 from the front. Celtic Chaos is now 7 lengths off of front-running 8 Town and Jose Ortiz, who have led every step of the way so far. They're in front by a length. True Timber is second. My Boy Tate revs it up on the outside with a 3-wide run toward the pace setters. Caledonian is next and Celtic Chaos last but closer. 45.31 was the half. They're into the stretch. And it is 8 Town on the inside, holding on to this lead. True Timber, My Boy Tate, Celtic Chaos coming down the center, down to the 16th pole. 8 Town in front, True Timber, Celtic Chaos running out of ground. It's down to 8 Town and True Timber. The two of them come to the wire, and True Timber did it. Beat 8 Town on the wire. Celtic Chaos was third, and My Boy Tate was fourth.
Well, My Boy Tate did not break sharp at all, and that cost him in here. True Timber in the end, wearing down the pace setter, 8 Town, and just gets up for the victory.
And I think it's a better victory than it may appear. First of all, it was a relatively tepid first quarter, just under 22 and 3. And on a track playing kindly, 8 Town was able to get everything his own way. And I'm not knocking 8 Town. He outran his odds, and Maggie made some great points about him. But True Timber still ran him down. But as you said, the break is so important in these races, Greg. And once the favorite, My Boy Tate, doesn't break, he's just behind the 8 ball because he's supposed to be in front. And you think about the difference in the trips, and it just eliminated any chance he had. And I'm going to say something else. Celtic Chaos ran very well in here. I mean, you look at that pace, it wasn't that fast. You look at the final time, I think Celtic Chaos ran a terrific race to run third in there.
Yeah, 5-4-3 finish. Let's go back to the beginning in here and keep your eyes on the 2 My Boy Tates. Usually very sharp out of the gate, not the case today.
Just sluggish, and he kind of bumped with the 3, but it's because he was so sluggish out of the gate. It's sometimes not a sign of sharpness, and he still didn't run that well, but he lost all chance to start.
And again, so when you have a horse like the 4 loose on the lead, to run that horse down, very impressive here from True Timber. Back-to-back victories, both coming here at Belmont Park in 6 furlongs. I would say not a problem at all for this horse. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. 5-4-3-2 finish in our feature.
Once again, among the world's leading sires of stakes horses and graded stakes horses, Warfront has sired 8 champions and 8 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include European champion U.S. Navy Flag and Lancaster Bomber, plus an ever-growing list of 2018 graded stakes winners. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to bring prices well over $1 million. International Super Sire Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, it's picture time for True Timber. The son of Mineshaft picks up the 4th win of his career, and he does it in ultra impressive fashion, running down a lone speed.
And I think the 10 is the only horse covering the pick 6, and True Timber onwards and upwards for this one. I'm telling you, Kieran's going to have to think stakes now. I think the 7 furlong Bold Ruler, which is closing weekend here, probably the next time we see True Timber. Or will he want to take more time and try to pad that stat?
That's right. It's working for him. Naira Betts, late pick 5 follow along. Another favorite defeated. We have an $11 horse, $14.60 horse in Lucky Ramsey. I think it's going to play even bigger than that.
Pick 5, there's a number of horses not covered. The 1's not covered, the 4's not covered, the 5's not covered, the 9's not covered, all long shots. But how about True Joe's Smoking Gun, the only one covered in the pick 6? Wow.
We're going to check in right now with Maggie Wolfendale, standing by with Joe Bravo.
And man of the hour, that's for sure. Joe Bravo here with True Timber. He always is. He's being modest. But teaming up with Kieran McLaughlin, you guys have had so much success recently and kind of good mojo going on between you two.
Man, just being part of Kieran's team, it's just without words saying thankful for me. I mean, this horse really ran a great race today. I mean, to run 108 on this track today, they were running. We looked at each other, me and Jose, after a while, we're like, we were moving that last 1/8 of a mile. I'm proud of both horses. They really ran it late on the line.
And the first, I mean, looking at the first time you rode this horse, had you worked him in the morning, you obviously said to Kieran when you walked in, you definitely had him ready.
I guess it was a good first date.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Is just, hey, listen, these colors will take you a long ways too. Calumet, thank you guys.
And Joe, you're running away from me? What do you have to ride? Are you going to have another $100 winner? He's running away from me.
I'm gonna ride the last race. Can you believe that?
Right. We'll let you go, Joe. Guys, this man, you know, he's always trying to make more money.
Joe Bravo, he's going to be on Lemon Blitz coming up in the next race, who right now is the 3-1 favorite for Jeremiah Engelhardt. But we're going to shift gears. Well, we'll show you real quick the odds here. Mile and a 16th on the turf. New York bred 40 maiden claiming race. And there you see Lemon Blitz. The 8 Bravo will be aboard. And the one to beat here, a horse who got beat by that 48-1 shot at Saratoga last time out.
Yeah, and that was the big winning ticket. Yeah,
Naira Betts late pick 5. We go to Woodbine, Group 1 Summer Stakes. The 2-year-old Colts going at it with a trip on the line to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Even money on Chad Brown's Fog of War for Peter Brand. Let's go to the post parade here very quickly. It happened moments ago. We're getting very close to post time here. And we'll start things off with long shot. Serrato, Rafael Hernandez aboard for Daniel Vela. Still a maiden, finished 5th first time out, going 7 furlongs on the turf back on August the 24th at Woodbine. Avies Flatter, another big price. The 2 here at 18-1 for Josie Carroll, son of Flatter.
Live long shot.
Won at 4-5, got bet like this horse had ability and ran to those odds in the debut. Here is Fog of War, 4-5 for Peter Brandt, son of Warfront. Got up to win by a neck at Saratoga, going 5.5 in the debut for Chad Brown. Muskoka Wonder, one of 3 in the race for trainer Mark Cassey, son of Into Mischief, with Patrick Husbands aboard. Moon Swings is the 5, 92-1. It's Jesse Campbell riding for Michael DePaulo. Still a maiden, beat by Nastrick and Muskoka Wonder in the last 2 starts. The 6 is Wallace. Gate to Wire win, last out on a yielding turf course for Kelsey Danner. Here's Sky Chief, 15-1. The son of More Than Ready for Mike Maker. Took the blinkers off last start, stretching out at Saratoga. Hit the board, wound up 3rd, going a mile and a 16th. As we look at the 8, War of Will, another Mark Cassey runner. Joel Rosario, he won this race a couple of years ago on Good Samaritan. Of course, shifted to the dirt and would wind up winning the Jim Dandy. Nash Trick is the 9, Luis Contreras for Josie Carroll. And here's Tricky Magician, another Mark Cassey runner, as was the 8, War of Will. John Velasquez will be aboard here. Still a maiden, but he's hit the board in all 3 career starts. Jungle Warrior is the 12 at 7-1. Sid Attard, Gary Boulanger. He won from well off the pace in his debut at 6 furlongs on the turf. And Federal Law for Archie Watson. Ocean Murphy will be aboard, the hot young rider. Won the Sussex Stakes and Juddmonte International this year. Blinkers on and Lasix for Federal Law, the son of Scat Daddy.
That was a mouthful, Greg. Fine job on that.
Thank you very much.
You can go home now.
So 4-5 on a projection play because we don't know who's going to handle the stretch out here.
I agree. And, you know, I'm always rooting for my friend Chad Brown, and I think it's a nice horse, and I know you agree, and the race there was good, but that's an awfully short price to take on a horse who's got to go 2.5 furlongs more. And there's some other horses this race that look like they could be okay.
All right, so beyond Fog of War, the 3-horse who's at 4 to 5, where do you look to in here?
Well, I thought the 2 Avies Flatter was a little bit interesting here. I mean, I know the horse broke its maiden first time out in synthetic. The dam herself actually produced 2 horses to try the turf, and they were both okay on the turf. Now, Flatter, the sire, is neutral at best as a turf sire, so I don't know how much he moves up in the turf from that, but I respect Josie Carroll a lot, and I thought that maiden effort was good. It was 5 furlongs, so that's to stretch out, but this horse is 19 to 1. So you could take a price hoping for that. I mean, you can look around. There's quite a few in here. Wallace ran very well last time, yielding turf course, but that was the turf debut at 6 furlongs, and that was a big effort, the number 6 Wallace. That horse is 42 to 1.
There's some monster numbers in here. We mentioned Mark Cassidy has 3 runners in here. He has the 4, he has the 8, the 11. The 4 was 12 to 1 morning line, 47 to 1 right now. The most highly regarded on the tote board of his trio is the 8, War of Will, who's still a maiden.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure what to do with War Will. They bet this horse strongly debuting and tired badly at 7 furlongs, so they tried to go long, but it is a war front. I don't know. I wouldn't play this horse. I think the race is just completely confusing, and it's almost like everybody says, well, you got a Chad Brown horse that ran a big figure winning at Saratoga. He's just going to win this race, and the race is confusing after that, but that's not the way the game always works, right?
Not at all. And there's a look at the 13 federal law. So here's a new face to just about everybody, at least here in North America. Federal law, been racing in Great Britain at Goodwood, at Chelmsford. Won second time out at Salisbury, and now a lot of changes. Blinkers on and getting Lasix.
And, you know, I mean, this is a Euro that the last time he ran on turf was running in a Group 2 at Goodwood. It was 14 to 1, so it's not surprising that he didn't run that well. Why is he impossible? And don't forget, he's only run twice on the turf.
What about Nash Trick, the 9? He's won on this turf course. It's his only start, but he was impressive. He won by 3.5 lengths. We don't know a lot of who he beat, even though War of Will was in that race behind him.
I'm not going to say that horse can't win. That was 7 furlongs. That horse is certainly not impossible.
Nash Trick, the 9. He's 8 to 1 on the board right now for Josie Carroll, son of Hat Trick, out of an AP Indy mare. Win, and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And it is the 3-horse, Fog of War. For champion trainer Chad Brown, a very short price trying to punch that ticket. Here's Robert Geller with the call, the Group 1 Summer from Woodbine.
Now Joel Rosario on War of Will, who's got out in the betting to 9 to 1. Nash Trick and Luis Contreras go up. Okay, crew link arms to bring Nash Trick forward. Bailing out is Luis Contreras. Nash Trick proving a bit of a handful here. Jockey is on his feet. It is okay. The rider, Luis Contreras, with a big day yesterday. And Nash Trick, 8 to 1 odds. A very impressive debut winner is the focus. Starter Ian Ross now at the front of the gate with that front of the gate opened. For Nash Trick to come and step forward, riderless to the gate. Others out are Tricky Magician, Jungle Warrior, and Federal Law. Waiting for Nash Trick. Almost there. Now the front of the gate being secured as well. Tricky Magician goes in as Luis Contreras heads back to his mount. John Velasquez is in. It's Jungle Warrior to gate 12. A monster first out win. Federal Law to the outside. Stand by for the start. The Grade 1 Summer Stakes. And they're in and locked up. And they're off. Bobbling was Federal Law on the outside, and Avies Flat is back last, and a good beginning for the Gary Barber runners. War of Will and Tricky Magician headed by Wallace. Up on the inside, Fog of War, a very cozy fourth early on. A length away, Moon Swings. Nash Triggers mid-pack. Avies Flat has made ground from Serato. Sky Chief got back with Muskoka Wonder, and dropping to the tail is Jungle Warrior. About 8 lengths covers now, maybe 9, is out in front by a length and a half. Wallace right there second. War of Will very relaxed, stalks the leader. In third, Tricky Magician and Fog of War the inside. A length and a half, Nash Trick. Right behind them, Moon Swings and Serato up the inside. A break of a length and a half away came Sky Chief, shading Avies Flatter. Towards the back, Muskoka Wonder, Federal Law. And 3 wide, Jungle Warrior making the break, Emma Jane. And Wallace got out by 3 lengths. In second position remains War of Will, a length and a half, Tricky Magician. Fog of War's had a good run. Nash Trick is winding up nicely on the outside. A break in the field, Sky Chief running past Moon Swings. Then Serato, Avies Flatter. Around them, Federal Law. Well back, Jungle Warrior, Muskoka Wonder. In the Summer Stakes, it's Wallace first for home, joined by War of Will. Tricky Magician is there, Nash Trick and Sky Chief down the outside. Fog of War looking for room near the rail. Avies Flatter down the outside. Nash Trick trying to get by War of Will. War of Will in front, Avies Flatter out wide. Now Fog of War sees daylight and has started to come through very strongly in the center. Is running greenly. It's War of Will joined by Fog of War. Fog of War, the battle is on, and it's Fog of War coming out to score. Fog of War in the Summer Stakes, 3 parts of a length to War of Will. Nash Trick third, then Avies Flatter and Jungle Warrior.
Fog of War now a perfect 2 for 2, wins the Group 1 Summer, punches his ticket to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and as we said, race is difficult, wide open. Just go, Chad Brown.
Yeah, right. He gets it done, and I mean, it was a terrific ground-saving trip for this horse under Javier Castellano. But I mean, he's blocked behind horses. He's got to sort of get his momentum going, and I think this was a very good educational win for this horse as well. Because while he did have a saving ground, he was kind of green in there. There were a lot of moments where you didn't think he'd get up, but when they straightened out, he got it done over a very game maiden, the 8 War of Will for Mark Casse.
Son of War Front with the win in the Group 1 Summer. Winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup. Fog of War, we're going to see him at Churchill Downs, it would seem, in early November. We're going to take a break. We'll be back to wrap this race up and talk Nightcap at Belmont next.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back there in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on. They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Soft got a turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Belmont Park Live as we are settled in here in the paddock for the Nightcap, and it's time for a paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farm. And we'll begin with a horse who is coming back off of a layoff. This one for trainer Mike Maselli in number 11, Mr. Messina, who has definitely had his chances, and they picked him up in the beginning of winter for the 25,000 and realized, I don't think he's a dirt horse, so they're giving the time. Now, turf racing did start back in April, and he's missed all that time since then, so obviously there was an issue, I would think, as well. He comes back here, typical Mr. Messina. He's sharp, he looks strong, he looks fit. We'll see if he can run well here off the bench, because several of his races make him a logical contender in here if he can get back to them. But the horse that I like the most has the recency, and that is number 3, Riendo, who's also has the lesser amount of chances. Now, going back to his last start, I believe that was a race in which I think we had a loose horse as they headed to the gate, and he had to wait around a long time. He kind of got caught in speed duels and just got ran down late by a pretty big price that day, and I liked him in the paddock that time, and I like him here once again for trainer Rick Schosberg. And you also see that V for voided claim last time. Actually, I asked Rick, and he just said that the trainer that tried to claim him also trains horses for Mrs. Malloy of Addition Farm, so therefore you can't do that. It was just an oversight, and so that's why he's still in Rick's barn here. But again, guys, I like Riendo.
6-1, and could be the controlling speed in this race.
I picked him as well. I like this horse. Short price last time, bigger price today. It's a competitive race, though.
Well, here's Lemon Blitz, and he was 5-1 last time out. Again, in that race where only one person hit the Naira Bets late pick 5, a 48-1 shot won't be missed. Who, by the way, came back and ran dead last against non-winners at 2 Lifetime.
He wasn't missed in that race. Lemon Bliss, to be fair, probably had a tougher trip in some ways. Millie's Party Boy had some trouble, but the 7, but was a bit wider than them. And what I like, if you like Lemon Blitz, was he been scratched a few times late, like bet scratches or scratch going to the gate one day, and now he's putting 2 races back to back, so he could even build on that race a little bit.
Meanwhile, this horse was in the same race as Won't Be Missed in Lemon Blitz last start, and it was a little bizarre. He was on the inside, he broke pretty sharp, and then Manny Franco was so intent to drop him back to last, and he actually made a nice run.
He did. I thought he got a very good ride by Manny, it turned out, because the pace was quick, so Manny was right to get him out of the race, and he sort of got the right trip and a perfect trip. There's nothing wrong with him. In some ways, I'd argue he's the horse to beat on his last race. It all depends on what the 11 does. If Mr. Messina runs his best race, he's going to beat these. But he's another doesn't like to win. But there's a whole field of horses doesn't like to win. The problem with Run for Boston is he's got 12 starts, 3 seconds, and 5 thirds. And that's why a horse like Riendo, the 3, is appealing, because it's only had 3 starts.
Mr. Messina, Hugh mentioned, that's the 11 horse. Jose Lezcano will be aboard. He's 5-1. We'll talk about him in a moment. We go back to Woodbine. And a Son of Warfront getting the job done in the Group 1 Summer. Fog of War. Warfront, of course, the International Super Sires, produced 8 champions. 9 millionaires, and his 2018 stakes winners include European 2-year-old champion, U.S. Navy Flag, Lancaster Bomber, Cambodia, Dream a While, Fire Away, Lull, the list goes on and on.
And Fog of War.
Yeah.
I mean, now you know why millions of dollars were spent on Warfronts. It just seems like every time you turn around, there's another Warfront winning a big race. Amazing sire.
And now a horse who will absolutely be in the conversation come Breeders' Cup weekend.
Yeah, we saw Opry, very impressive for Todd Pletcher, winning the stake up in Saratoga, 2-year-olds. That horse and Fog of War, they're on a collision course. We were racking our brains. Now, I'm not sure we went on the out west, but I don't know if I've seen 2 better horses. And I was texting with Chad Brown, and he agreed. This horse is still green. So what happens when he starts getting his act together? Because that's going to happen.
Yeah, still a lot of improvement, as you can see from that stretch run, and that's a scary thought, because he has shown a ton of ability here. 2 starts, 2 wins, handled the stretch out just fine, although a little green. Here comes our post parade for our nightcap here at Belmont. Blessed Honor, 63-1 to kick things off here. 0 for 11 in the money.
Yeah, I'm looking at his PPs, and I'm thinking 63-1's an underlay.
It could be, actually, here. Run for Boston. He just missed by a half length from the clouds last start with Manny Franco.
He's run plenty of races that would make him tough. He draws well towards the inside, but he just doesn't seem to like to find the winner's circle.
5-1 today. Riendo, we talked about him being the pace here in this race for Rich Schosberg. Mike Luzzy rides.
If he can get away with a more moderate pace than he did last time, a heavily contested pace, he can wire the field.
20-1 on Platinum Nugget, and there he is for Joe Lestrito.
Now, I'm going to say that he's a 20-1 shot with a chance. One thing that bothers me is his worst effort was on a yielding turf course.
Old Conda, Leah Giramati, Rajiv Mirage has only had one turf try, and it came against better.
It was a much better field. He was 154-1 that day.
And ran somewhat to those odds. Train in Vain, how about a new face? Never started before.
You know, I love the song, and this horse actually has a real turf pedigree on the dam side.
Player perhaps at 30-1. Here's Millie's Party Boy. You definitely make a case for this one at 8-1.
Absolutely. Think Millie's Party Boy one of these days can get the right trip. Though Rajiv Mirage overall gave him a good ride last time, but he had some trouble in the backstretch.
Lemon Blitz, major player for Jeremiah Engelhardt.
No question about it. He's another relatively lightly raced horse. Unlike the others, has not had a lot of chances.
He's the 7-2 favorite right now. Here is Decadence. He is trying the turf for the first time in start number 2, New Barn.
I could only bet him in Saratoga.
Leo O'Brien. Trainer, here's Joe Smoking Gun, 4-1. Maybe the horse to beat.
Well, he's carrying one person's hope for $326,000 in this pick 6. That person must like the Dylan Davis to Jose Ortiz switch, because an 0 for 13 with 4 seconds, not for me.
Mr. Messina, I think we both like here.
Well, I mean, he's got the fastest races. The problem is he hasn't run in about 7 months. And, you know, he's also a horse that's 0 for 12 with 4 seconds. So at a short price, I don't want him, but his best races make him tough.
And Sir Frost, 17-1. Dylan Davis, Barkley Tag. That's a huge price. I thought he had an outside look.
He does have an outside chance. He's actually one I didn't use in the pick 4, which is dead anyway, that I thought had a chance in there. He's got to overcome that post, though.
This is the only horse right here. The results in the pick 6 getting hit this afternoon.
326. Got some time to study. It's a good card Wednesday.
326,000?
Yeah.
Can Joe Smoke and Gun get it done? We'll be back.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record-setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Belmont Park Live. Good to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon. A beautiful Sunday here in Elmont, New York. I'm going to be heading over to Brooklyn tomorrow.
Nice.
Visit with Sis.
Nice.
Hopefully, I will have a little money to bring and I could buy dinner. But I need a winner here in the last for that to happen. Get signed up, get started. $200 new member bonus. Use the promo code Belmont Live to take advantage. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. So here's Joe Smoking Gun. This horse results, the only one in the pick 6 getting hit. $326,000 payoff.
a tip of the cap to the person who was able to get live to any horse in here, and don't know how a person ends up singling a horse like this. He is 0 for 13. You know, are they thinking Jose Ortiz is going to improve the horse? It's not like Dylan Davis has done anything wrong. I will say that Joe Smoking Gun attended a very fast pace that completely incinerated last time at Saratoga, but he's just had so many darn chances, Greg.
He has 0 for 10 on the turf, 4 seconds. Can he break through today? Here's the 11, Mr. Messina, and he definitely has races that if you look back November, October, September of last year, if he can repeat those, that might be good enough to win.
I agree. He's too good for these if he runs those races. And his trainer, Mike Maselli, who claimed him from Belmont, he does a very good job with the horses that he has. Now, you are asking a horse to run a mile and a 16th, coming off of a near 7-month layoff, and a horse that's not shown affinity for winning. Having said that, he's 9-2 right now, which seems like a more than fair price.
And then you have Riendo in here. He's at 5-1. And he can use that speed of his with Mike Luzzi aboard to try and get a little separation early.
I agree. Can he outrun horses like the 10 and 11 in here? We'll see if he's able to do that. I was hoping for a better price at 5-1. To be honest with you, Greg, he ran very, very well 2 back on the turf with a crazy wide trip against tougher horses and really did run well last time out. He was a victim of that pace that just fell apart.
And we talked about, you had said the 6 horse, right? Has a little bit of pedigree.
He does, Train in Vain. It's a great Clash song, isn't it?
38-1.
Love that song.
You have to refresh my memory.
Was it Stand By? I don't sing. I'm not singing. Paul's the singer.
If I was alive to the 10 here, Joe Smoking Gun, I don't know if I could watch. I would have to close my eyes and just look at the toe.
Well, look at it this way. It's better to be alive with him than the position you and I are in. It's alive for nothing.
True. But what a nerve-wracking moment this must be for whoever's alive to the 10 horse here to take down this entire pool in the pick 6 with the 10, Joe Smoking Gun. Good luck. If it doesn't happen, of course, got a lot of handicapping to do over the next couple of days. Let's send it upstairs. Larry Colmus with the call of the finale here from Belmont.
In line. They're off. Awkward start for Decadence at the back of the pack. Good beginning, though, on the outside for Mr. Messina, who goes out to the early lead. In company with Blessed Honor on the inside, and now this long shot will take over onto the backstretch and open up to lead by 2.5 lengths. Joe Smoking Gun is third, 5 from the front. Then comes Riendo, Golconda, Run for Boston, Sir Frost on the outside, and Train in Vain. 2 lengths to Lemon Blitz. Decadence is next by another 2.5. Millie's Party Boys at the back of the field with Platinum Nugget, 23.31 that opening quarter mile for a 99-1 shot. Blessed Honor and Winston K out there by 7 lengths up the backstretch. Riendo is second. On the outside, Mr. Messina tracks in third. Golconda fourth on the inside as they continue their way toward the far turn. Then comes Sir Frost. Joe Smoking Good's a good 9 lengths behind at this stage. Then Run for Boston on the inside of Lemon Blitz after a 47.74 half mile. After that comes Platinum Nugget. Millie's Party Boy is next. And then Train in Vain and Decadence. They make their way around the far turn. And Blessed Honor's lead is whittling away as Mr. Messina runs on by. Joe Smoking Gun is 2 lengths behind. Sir Frost is fourth on the outside. Lemon Blitz still about 5 lengths to make up. Then comes Platinum Nugget. Run for Boston, Millie's Party Boy to the outside, and Riendo, and they're coming to the top of the stretch, where Mr. Messina's the one to beat here. 3/4, 113.71 seconds. Joe Smoking Gun is 4 lengths behind in second. And then comes Lemon Blitz in third, followed on the outside by Platinum Nugget. But as they come down to the final 16th, it is Mr. Messina trying to hold on to this lead. In front by 3 to Lemon Blitz, who's cutting into the gap but running out of time, and Mr. Messina gets there first. Lemon Blitz was second, Golconda was third, then a photo for fourth between Joe Smoking Gun and Run for Boston.
Mr. Messina gets the win. 3 today for Jose Lezcano. Mike Maselli winning trainer.
Good job by Mike Maselli getting this horse ready off an over 6-month layoff to run this well. This horse stalked the rapid pace set by the long shot, took over, opened up, and just had enough left to hold off Lemon Blitz. Joe Smoking Gun will live to fight another day. Pick 6 carryover, $326,010 into Wednesday.
All right, we got a lot of work to do over the next couple of nights. 11, 8, and a 48-1 shot. The 5 horse completing the trifecta. Photo for fourth. We'll make it official When we come back, Mr. Messina breaks through. Career start, lucky number 13. We'll be back.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July Seal with a $520,000 yearly. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Belmont Park Live, and it has just gone official. Mr. Messina gets the job done here in the Nightcap. Jose Lezcano, his third win on the card, teams up with Mike Maselli for the victory.
Yeah, and I'm really happy for Mike Maselli. He's a good trainer, does a good job, and he really not easy to get a horse this ready off for a long distance race like this, and ran very well, Mr. Messina. Congrats to Connections.
Had been off since late February, returns $12.40 for the win. Pick 4 comes back $515. By the way, the 10 there was close for 4th. Joe Smoking Gun, the only horse that would have resulted in the pick 6 getting hit, winds up 4th. Saw that Naira Bets late pick 5 payoff. What was it?
A lot.
There
I'm
it
guessing
is.
about
$2,902.
Okay. The pick 4 paid $500. H-Man paid $470. It paid almost 6 times with a 6-to-5 shot, almost 7-to-5. Unbelievable.
Favorite, a second choice in a 5-horse field. Mr. Messina was, I believe, 3rd choice morning line.
I'd have had 4 or 5. Victor
Incredible.
Lounge. And beat a nose.
Pick 6 carryover for Wednesday. Races 4 through 9, $326,000. We're going to see everybody on MSG Plus. We are back on Wednesday. Prime Ticket viewers, we are back on Friday. In the Natalma, Woodbine, winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, La Palosa. Charles Appleby with a win under Jamie Spencer. Fog of War now undefeated for Chad Brown, getting the job done in the Group 1 Summer, and it's on to the Breeders' Cup as well. And, of course, True Timber. Back-to-back wins now at Belmont for Kieran McLaughlin. MSG will see you on Wednesday. Prime Ticket on Friday.